fortune to have three panelists whose depth of understanding and experience in the world of Tennessee culture and economics and political life is without compare. We have Bradley Johnson, Vice President of Government Affairs for the Tennessee Chamber of Commerce, with us. One moment, I have to read my own notes here. His experience in the governor's office and legislative work around the state has been continual since 1999, and he's worked with a number of state legislative institutes. He's originally from Lawrenceburg, not too far from here, Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, and is a graduate of the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. So, thank you for being here. Our second panelist is Gary Moore. He's on the far end. He's currently the president of the Tennessee AFL-CIO. He started out as a with the Nashville Fire Department, which protects my home, among others, and was at the rank of captain with 32 years of experience as a fighter. He joined the IAFF Local 140 immediately upon being hired with the Nashville Fire Department, remains a strong member to this day. He has a long career in politics in the Tennessee House of Representatives, and he served 4 consecutive terms as a state representative from the 50th District, where I think these gentlemen got to know each other pretty well in that capacity. Gary was elected to serve as president of the Tennessee AFL-CIO in 2011, and and then stepped down from his position in the legislature. Okay. And our third panelist is Jim Brown, who's Tennessee State Director of the National Federation of Independent Businesses. He assumed his directorship in 2007 after serving as senior media manager of the NFIB in 10 states across the South, including Tennessee, beginning in 2004. And as state director, he heads lobbying on behalf of this association and its members, as well as overseeing small business grassroots activity across Tennessee. He has a long and distinguished career before that in corporate communications. And I don't think we could have 3 better people with us today to discuss some of the recent challenges, achievements, qualities and characteristics of the employment and labor markets and politics and culture of our state, and I asked them to look forward to what are some of the opportunities and the issues that they think will be particularly relevant as we look to the next couple of years. And with that, I'll turn this over to Bradley Johnson.
Thank you very much, Bill. Let's Bradley, thanks for Jackson.
Jack, I'm so sorry.
No, it's not. I've been called much worse.
Well, Bradley Jackson.
I thought you got your screen but I'm from Arnold and lobby for the Tennessee Chamber of Commerce. So basically, this is an opportunity to kind of hear, from folks who are really on the front line of lobbying in the legislature. When you hear those certain business lobbyists, business lobbyists, and the labor lobbyists, this is kind of you all have them here, so you get to hear an opportunity about some of the things that we're going to say. I guess I'll start off with just business from the perspective of the state chamber. Some of the things, and I'll try to split it with you on some of the things I think that Tennessee has done, some of the things that we're proud of, and some of the perspective that we have as we talk to business across Tennessee, but not only talking to them, but also other businesses who look at Tennessee. Our goal is very simple. We want Tennessee to be the best state in the nation to grow jobs. We don't want to be Texas. We don't want to be Georgia. We want to be the best state in the nation for business to come in and create jobs and grow and prosper and allow families to have good places to work and to raise their children in a good environment in Tennessee. We think we've got the best product in America in Tennessee. So we think we have that in a number of ways. Going back historically, Tennessee has a long culture of being a right-to-work state. Tennessee's always been a heavy manufacturing state as well. So going back historically, there's a lot of reasons why there's a lot of big industry in Tennessee. One of it gets back to kind of TVA and the power structure that's here. It's an easy place for a lot of companies to come. Have a reliable power structure for manufacturers. It's got to be reliable and to have very reasonable rates. So the history of Tennessee's energy rates have been very reasonable. Tennessee is in close proximity to really about 80, now it's about 80% of the United States population. We're a long state. All the major traffic that's either going through Chicago from the northeast or even to Texas is coming through Tennessee at some point through our infrastructure system. We are a rich natural resource state. There's a lot of raw minerals in Tennessee that make it an attractive place for manufacturing. Tennessee is also a good state in terms of taxation. We're a low tax state here. Now, on business taxes, we're really more middle to low of the pack, but for individuals like us that live in Tennessee, we're a very low state. We're one of only 7 states that do not have an income tax. Most of the other states do have an income tax. Either Florida has tourism, Texas has natural, a ton of natural resources that they draw from. Tennessee now shifting a little bit into our business culture. I would think Tennessee is a good state. We are a right-to-work state. We've been that for a long time. That's something that a lot of employers know right out of the gate about Tennessee. We feel like we've improved our business climate over time. Long-standing challenge for us was workers' compensation costs in Tennessee that were noticeably higher in Tennessee than other states. Tennessee's law had, over time, we thought uncompetitive to a lot of our sister states. So our argument on that is very simple. There's no logic or there's no reason why Tennessee would have a different or more expensive workers' compensation system than Kentucky or North Carolina or Mississippi. That employers look at those things and it hurts Tennessee's ability to be able to recruit employers. At the end of the day, it is very much in our interest to make sure our workforce is taken care of. Labor is our number one cost. It always will be our number one cost. Our workers are our most important asset. So we want to take care of them, but we want to do it in an efficient manner that makes sense for them to be able to get paid fast, to be able to go to their doctor, get treatment, get better, and come back to work. The system that we had did not have that. It was a system that was fraught with argument, with kind of second guessing, games that have been played. We feel like the new system will play out, and so far the input we've got from the boards is that it will be exactly what we will be in the system. There's a number of other things we've done in the employment law areas. I won't get into too much detail on them. That's kind of the same thing. It lines Tennessee up to be what federal law allows, and it puts us focused on very similar things to what other states do surrounding us. So we've got other things we talk about, but let me, I think maybe preparedness, we go to Gary. Yeah.
We asked her to
How do you do that? Real quick, let me first say that as he mentioned, Brad mentioned, I have 2 more hobbies. I've been 10 years for firefighter and I have firefighter youth. But I've also said as a state legislator. And while serving as a state legislator, it was the opinion of most of the public out there that lobbyists were bad people, bad leaders, and nothing would be further from the truth. Back when I served in the House, we had as many as 4,000 bills at the file. And when you're looking at 4,000 bills, and I can honestly say every bill that came before any committee that I served on, I read it, and I understood it. But you cannot, as a legislator, read all 4,000 bills, so you rely on other committee members in the respective committees to do that for you and inform you. Just as important, you rely on the lobbyists that come in on both both sides use, and that's one thing I always ask. If Bradley came in to ask me to vote for or against a particular bill, one of the first things I may ask him is who's going to be against it or for, who's going to be on the opposite side of you. And I would invite those individuals in my office so that I can opportunity to both sides of you. The lobbies are not bad. And currently, I don't agree with all the lobbies that come in what they have to say. Most of them will tell you the truth. And I read a few that will stretch the truth, and someone that will outright lie with you. But that's the perspective of society as a whole. Most lobbies try to be fair, most lobbies try to tell you that their version of a particular deal does. They're either supporting or against it, so they will do their best to explain it without outright lying. In most cases, to what that bill does or doesn't do. So that's a whole pitch on city lobbies, right? Which is just the side two lobbies right now. But we talk about labor and how we feel about state of Tennessee, where we're going, and where we're heading. First of all, right now, I'm very concerned that labor feels like that we want Tennessee to be a state where business will really come to. However, we don't want it to be because the employees are treated substandard. The employees are paid substandard pay, given substandard benefits, and the expense of paying for those companies wanting to come to Tennessee or going on the back of the employee. We don't want that. And I think I heard Bradley say that they value the employees as well. So I'll give you a couple of examples, and one in particular was the work comp bill that was the governor's primary bill, legislative legislation passed. Won't get into the details of the bill because it's very complicated. New voting system, and my understanding we're looking to even revamp it further. This next legislation. Under these are real people now, a real person I'm talking about. I think that here, not here. So it may not be exact, I think it's fit. An individual was injured on the job and was incapacitated enough that he would not be able to go back to work. Under the old workers' comp, he received a settlement of $200,000. And he, again, he's not back to work and doesn't have any real process of going back to work. Under the new workers' comp, his settlement, and it happened after that bill passed, within 34,000. That's a crap in my opinion. It saved money, it saved the employer money, yes it is. But in our opinion, it's the expense of the employee. So we have to pay on behalf of the employees, and make no mistake about it. We realize good companies have to exist for the employees to have good jobs, we understand that. But we also think it should be an equal and fair balance, that the employees are not mistreated. And I really believe that most companies are not out to intentionally mistreat their employees. But a lot of times they are. And it's intentional, I don't think it's most of the time is. But if you look at that one scenario, and there's others, if you look at that one scenario, I think you paint a picture of what the workers' comp reform bill is to work. There's a whole lot of detail that goes into the workers' comp reform that more into the doctor side and other things that will change as well. But to me, the real tragedy was when the employee was injured and they got properly taken care of. We fought that bill tooth and nail. We were lobbying hard against it. Unfortunately, we didn't prevail. And the bill did pass, and as I say, as the record elsewhere, that individual got injured after the workers' comp reform.
Thank you, Gary. I sit next to one of the finest gentlemen, I think, in Tennessee. I lobbied Gary many years, and the committee, the Consumer Employee Affairs Committee, is what it's called now. I went to see Gary so many times, and even when I knew I wasn't going to get Gary's vote, just the fair hearing I got from him, just the respect, just to come and talk to Gary and make sure that we talk about the issue from our perspective on this particular bill. Gary asked a lot of good questions. He was very interested in the issue, and actually over a couple of times, but sometimes I did, but I just enjoyed the relationship. AJ back here also is a good friend, very good friend. Actually, the reason Barry and I are here. And there are 3 or 4 times a year I'll see AJ in the hall and I'll say closet and say, I don't think we care about the school, but I think you do. And I'll mention something that just the how we are as lobbyists that you might want to clue into this bill or just start talking about it. And tell Gary about it, tell your folks about it. So just told you about a bill that's coming next year that's changing as we're talking about it. We can talk about that a little bit. So we don't agree all the time, but I want to start with what we do. Because in this hyper-partisan culture that we have, and it has gotten way off the rails, there are a lot of places where we agree. But it's hard for us to talk about it and say it because of how polarized the electorate is. And I heard some of the discussion beforehand, some of which I agree with, some of which kind of piqued my interest. There are, our members don't look at it as far as a political party, this person or that person. We look at how they vote. And there are some folks that are Democrats that they have a 50, 60, 70% voting record that we think are fantastic because they will work with you on bills, they'll help you in the committee, they're open-minded to compromise. Charlie Curtis up the road here is one of the all-time best who worked in labor and business and cracked the bill. What we talked about as well, the construction mandate, the workers' comp industry, the bill we still talk about today. Those are areas where we kind of common ground in Tennessee and fought through the polarization. And I think the reason that it has occurred in Tennessee more frequently than D.C. is because of our Constitution. We are required to balance the budget. We have to introduce the bill for a single subject. Gary can introduce the bill, and you with no hope of passing the bill without the area. We have to introduce it to the president and we want a press conference and talk about it. You may not pass it this year, but you're going to give attention to it, and maybe 5 years down the road, you'll pass the bill. So these requirements that we have in our Constitution force debate. They force healthy debate. The press reports on it. What we have in Washington is the exact opposite. Everything's off the rails. The electorate, we're distracted. We have our own website that we go to, Washington Post, Direct Report. We get our own information, but we don't look at the other side. And the politicians on both sides are recognizing that, and they only talk to the base. It's not healthy. It's really not healthy. So I'm encouraging everyone in this room where we come from. Our members obviously don't like Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, whatever you like to call it, for a lot of reasons, but the union shouldn't like it either. The Cadillac tax, the reduced work, the 30-hour reduced work week. A lot of our members, all of y'all heard Ruby Falls down the street, in Chattanooga, it's an NFIB member. He's got about 40, he's on that line of 49 to 52 full-time employees. That's why the employer mandate, right? And so he's trying to figure out the employer mandate's going to kick in as part of the healthcare law. And he has probably 7 or 8 told me, I think he testified in Congress about this, 7 folks, 5 of them are retirees, a couple of them are teachers that like to go work there in the summer. It's like go work. He told them once the employer mandate kicks in, they're not going to, can't hire no more. Because it goes forward to 50, he wants to continue to provide benefit to his employees. So this law has so many things to it that are causing negative things for workers, for employers. There are some things in the law that are good that we probably should keep, but at what cost? At what cost? So in Tennessee, I think if you had a healthcare reform bill, we would probably start going from the center and try to find out where there was agreement. And when we get out of the fringes, we tend to stop. I think what's happening in Washington is the party takes control, they kind of cram out what they want, and you get consequences that we don't want. We should not like that bill. Cadillac tax is an example. So I hope a lot of people in this room will encourage your elected officials, wherever you're from, to hit the restart button on that, because it's hurt people. It's hurt a lot of people. It's certainly delivered care. I just want to share a story about my daughter one time was asking me about what I do. I was 16 now. And she said, she just be real sweet with me. She said, Dad, how was your day? What did you do today? I said, well, we finished work with Arnold and workers' comp is where there's authorities, premiums, and life insurance, no fault system, so when the worker gets injured, they have something for them. And, you know, it's been around a long time, and she gets that. She's read all this, she gets that. Please stop. Don't tell me all what you're going to do. A lot of it, we care about this stuff. We care about it, employees care about it, employees care about it. And one thing I'll mention that has come up this year, you mentioned Bill. We obviously, before the bill, I think there's a lot of good parts of that bill. I know you should have been more about your situation that we talked about, the specifics of it. But what we had in Tennessee were claims that go 2, 5, sometimes 8, 10 years from not settled. And it's not, there were some unscrupulous folks in the system. There was good representation in the system, but there were some that were unscrupulous that were just dragging out the claim and the sample race to the courthouse where they would get the permanent partial disability, and then both attorneys would tell their offices, good stand, and they would try to find the best venue for the trial. The worker's hurt. The worker needs the benefits. And this thing is dragging on and on. They can't come to an agreement, which happens. But this keeps going on and on and on. And so, how is that good for the worker? So this system is designed to try to get the benefits a little quicker. The attorneys at the end can still sue if something goes wrong, but not the whole thing. So that's been a big part of this reform, that when we see how it works, and you know, if there are things that are not working in it, I think we told everyone that voted for that bill, okay, absolutely. Something to look for in Tennessee. There is a bill coming from Senator Mark Green. We're hearing about it with Chairman Johnson. There are 2 alternative programs out there that one is very old, it's been around a long time, and one is very new. Oklahoma has a thing called opt-out. You opt out of their administrative systems. It's just going into effect right now since summer of this year, January 1, I believe. And so that is where you manage the claim outside the administrative system. There's still exclusive remedy toward unity, but it's very new, and a lot of business community are kind of seeing how it goes. But it's unproven, it's untested. There's still some courts probably going to weigh in on some of the aspects of the law. So that's one thing that's going on. Something that's going on a lot longer is the Texas system. It's called non-subscription. In non-subscription, you don't have exclusive remedy. You can be sued if you're managing a claim outside. You have to opt out in Texas to non-subscription. And if you're not managing a claim well, it's sued. It's about 1% of the claims in that area go to the lawsuit. And so it's in the employer's best interest to obviously do their very best under that scenario. The pluses and minuses in this area we've learned. We've got a question. This is where we're very unique at NFIB. We have 8,000 members, and we work with all sides on pros and cons, what they like and don't like about the Texas and Oklahoma system. This was emailed yesterday to 8,000 members, and we'll get the poll results here in the next couple of weeks to see where we are. AJ, Gary, are going through the Texas law and Oklahoma model that we engage in as well. The insurance folks will, Bradley will, but no one's got any hard position on this right now. It's very new and very fluid. But I'm mentioning it because Tennessee is one of those states where a lot of things are happening. A lot of debate about how to improve or change the system. So let me stop there and thank you again for allowing me to be here. But I'm sure you all have a lot of questions.
And I have some of this remark. First of all, he's right that labor, there's a lot, some things about the Affordable Care Act, aka Obamacare, that labor doesn't like. There's a lot about it that does like. Labor has always been and will continue to be, and will be in the future, an advocate for those that are less fortunate than us. The truth of the matter is, there's not probably a union member that doesn't have insurance. And the Obamacare will affect their bottom line on it. But I can tell you, as a union member myself, I am more than willing to pay an increased premium to cover those that are less fortunate, that don't have any insurance at all. There's been a million people that are now covered by the Affordable Care Act who have never had coverage before. In the state of Tennessee, where the legislature refused to accept any money from the federal government to expand Medicare here in Tennessee. Over 250,000 Tennesseans, these are hard numbers, are now totally without coverage that could have had coverage. And to show you that what's going on in D.C. is also going on here in Tennessee. If there was an amendment proposed on the House floor, a great issue, that basically said, let's accept the money from the federal government, let's expand it. When the federal government runs out, then we'll cut it. We're going to put a period of time, and a window, if you would, as long as the federal law was there, those individuals could have coverage. Now they don't. There's also an instance on the workers' comp reform. The chairman of the committee in the House, the workers' comp reform came through last year. Basically said, unbeknownst to him, the microphone on, this train leaves the station. Meaning this bill's going to pass. We didn't care. There was a lot of debate, a lot of testimony that came up and spurred in the committee. People that were actually injured came and appeared before that committee. And it fell on deaf ears. There was a mindset that we're going to pass this legislation, regardless of what kind of debate we hear in committee, regardless of what kind of debate or conversation we have from individuals that may have been affected by it. So we got problems here in Tennessee as well as we do with the federal government. And the piece of legislation that Jim's talking about, the Oklahoma, Texas legislation, they don't fall out of the sky. Somebody has decided that we need to relook at this workers' comp reform, and we need to reform it some more. So again, some senators, some legislator, or someone has decided we need to look at this a little further, and that's why this bill will be considered in the upcoming legislative session to reform workers' comp even more. In my opinion, if you're going to reform it for I looked around workers' comp was formulated, originally implemented, although it might look like it. The truth of the matter is, when it came about because of businesses. Businesses wanted to implement workers' comp because they were tired of getting sued. So that's how workers' comp came about. Now I'm getting too far to the point that I even made a statement in the workers' comp debate. Why don't we go away with it and go back to the court system? Let individuals sue and take their chances in court and see what happens. If they're not careful, that's where we're going to wind up. And I don't think really and truly that's good for the employee or the employer. But I'm afraid that's where we really wind up going.
Well, that last point's a great point, and probably one of the key parts of the debate, I would say. But what I've heard from the business community is they want an option, and again, I'm not taking a position on this legislation at all, because I haven't seen the bill and I don't have a direction from my membership. But you made a very, very valid point. But there are some out there in the business community who said that, look, we're not higher risk, we don't have manufacturing, there's not folks falling off the roof in our business. You may have a carpal tunnel or something like that. It's a claim that we can settle pretty easily outside the system. And I think they're looking for an option. But you're making a very good point where the 3 or 4 major parts of this bill, I think they're going to be we certainly so I'm just going to take a contrary view on the Medicaid, just to have fun. Medicaid thing is Tennessee is different than California and Illinois and other states. We have a constitutional requirement to balance our budget. It's been we share Gary's view of trying to cover as many folks as possible. We would like to start a lot of our members, about 40% of our members offer health insurance. 60% of offer health insurance. A lot of them are getting from larger businesses that Bradley has, but they don't have it all. So it's a big deal for our members as well. A lot of uncovered small business owners out there. We have people who cover TN where they had some minimal coverage for a while. A lot of people like that because it's not in the system, but it wouldn't offer pass coverage. That's been taken away because of the new law. So we have this big debate going on expansion. I think Medicaid is two things. It's not just expansion, which is the debate that's going on, but it's also a reform piece. In Tennessee, we had TennCare, which was one of two states that had kind of a pilot program, and it got to be where it went to almost 35% of the budget, and it's projected to go to 40%. A Democrat governor said, I have to balance the budget. This is crowding out all the other services. If we don't fix it now, we're going to be cutting everything. We're already in the world of hurt. So the governor reduced the rolls. It was awful, painful, not good for a lot of people. And you were there when it happened. Now we're kind of back where we were, which is the budget went to 25% of the state budget. The state portion of the budget is now 31%, and it's growing organically even without expansion. So the governor's trying to, it's getting a lot of criticism from his party and the Democrats. He's trying to get waivers to manage a program that won't break the bank and is fiscally responsible. He's trying to incentivize better outcomes. He's trying to improve decisions from the people within the system. He's looking for co-pays, that all of us, I think, in this room probably are paying. He's trying to get something new and fresh in there to improve the program. So hats off to him for trying. I don't know if he's going to get it from this administration, but we've been there before with having to look at a budget that was a total. You all have to balance the budget. And so they're very wary of federal strings attached that slowly go away. So I think both sides have good points. It's, I think Tennessee just needs the authority again to try something new that is not partisan. So that's hopefully where we're going. It takes some time and it's frustrating, but we share frustration. I think it's something that can happen at some point, hopefully sooner rather than later.
I don't have anything to add.
Question that for the three groups, as a state, trying to bring businesses in and keep the businesses that you have. Sometimes your motivations, whether you're representing the workers or you're saying, hey, one of the things you're going to set, a selling point would be this is the right to work state. From Illinois, similar sort of thing. So talk about the challenges you have for attracting and retaining, even though you may not all agree upon the things that are selling points.
I'll say something philosophically. This is, I think, this comes from kind of the business side. So the chamber, most of our members are bigger companies around Tennessee, probably around, I think that's a member of us. I think philosophically, the way the business community views that is that there are rules and regulations that business is your bare minimum that you have to follow when you're operating. The federal government sets so many of those. The state government, they set those as well. As you look at organization and the trade shop, is typically going to have rules above and beyond that. It's going to have costs and have rules above and beyond that. So I think in a very extremely competitive economy, because workers' comp, Tennessee's costs are uncompetitive. I mean, we could easily show that. Matter of fact, it's unfortunate because you all know the trade shop up in, I'm saying now because they're on Goodyear Tire, unabashedly said our workers' comp costs in Tennessee are 8 times higher than they are in the state. Believe me, you cannot handle the per hour cost. And ultimately, there were a lot of other systemic things that could cause that. But for them, we are in a world of 10 cents on a widget cost makes a difference. And matter of fact, we're seeing it now with reshoring, with labor costs in China are increasing. Manufacturing right now is seeing some very positive turnarounds in our economy, which are great for us. Those tax revenues that manufacturing brings in, they fund healthcare, they fund schools at both the state and the local level. It's good for all of us to have a good, healthy economy where the middle class can have those jobs and can grow. But it's extremely competitive. So kind of our argument has been that we've got to stay, Tennessee's got to stay competitive. If we are uncompetitive here, another state will get our apples. We don't want them to get our apples. We want companies to come here. We want to reap the benefits of that tax revenue. So I guess overall, for the things that increase costs that are above and beyond, we have to be sensitive to that because companies will have to stay alive. They may reshore in Vietnam. They may look at China. If the costs here get to be too much. The way we see it is the federal government sets the floor at all those requirements. And they are very stringent requirements. You may have set up business with wage and hour, workers' compensation, unemployment, OSHA. They are numerous. In America, American industry, American manufacturing, we do it better than anyone. We're the cleanest. We take care of, we make the best products. Our products, everything, the world tries to steal what we do. We excel at it, and we want to keep that over here. But we have to make sure the cost of that are totally in line with what the market can withstand. So as those pressure points go up, if you have wages that you have to pay higher, if you have additional labor requirements, if you have recreational requirements that go up, if you have parking requirements that go up, that puts pressure on you and your organization.
Let me first make a broad statement. I don't represent business, we guys do. But I've had it around for a long time, and I know most businesses are looking for accessibility. We have good internet systems here in Tennessee. We have good waterways here in Tennessee. We have good railways here in Tennessee. What we're lacking is public education. But other than that, we have three of the major components that any business is looking for. So that automatically, in my opinion, gives us a leg up on versus some states. It's all a factor of certainly it is. But from what I hear from what few businesses I deal with is, number one, they want a workforce that's capable of doing the job. Doesn't do any good to move here to Tennessee. It doesn't cost you anything to conduct business here in Tennessee. It doesn't do any good to move here if you doesn't have a workforce. So they're looking for an adequate workforce. How do you get an adequate workforce? Properly training, number one. That goes back to the trades. That goes back to formal education. But you have to have the working people to be able to do it. The only way you're going to get those working people is if you pay them a decent wage. Nobody's going to spend their time, resources, and energy to go to a trade school, let's say, to get a particular skill if they're going to get paid substandard work. Not style, they can go to McDonald's and all the same thing. You get my picture there. So I think education is key. Accessibility is the key. And certainly cost, I'm not going to argue the cost is key. But my difference in the cost analysis is this. I believe in safety regulation. I spent 32 years as a firefighter. I know what fire sprinkler systems do, I know what smoke alarms do, and I know how proper adequately trained firefighters and paramedics what they can do. So you have to have regulations. If you didn't, businesses would run amok. Not everybody is a good business person. All of them, some of them will do exactly what they need to do without any regulation. But unfortunately, not all of them do that. So you have to have regulation to regulate for businesses would run it. I have seen firsthand where they were not safety precautions followed, and I've seen people manually mutilated. It's not good stuff. So you have to have regulations. Can you over-regulate? I'm sure you can. There needs to be a fine balance. If you have to have regulations, you regulate businesses that are not people of good character or businesses of good character. You have to have.
Good stuff. Pretty much agree with most of everything that was said here. I would say you just have a couple things, which is regulation necessarily is not a bad thing. Right now, what we're dealing with is tremendous federal overregulation. Tremendous federal overregulation. It's gotten extreme to where the agencies become the fourth branch of government. I won't give you one story, I can give you so many. But a guy named Mike Weatherington down the street here in Fayetteville has a company of about 25 people, and he was getting a chemical shipment from a vendor, and the truck spilled chemicals. And Mike immediately hears the yelling in the plant, calls the fire department down in Fayetteville. He says, get here now, and calls everybody who's got a truck and a hose, and they contain the spill, okay? Doesn't go into the surrounding farmlands, kind of outside of town, doesn't go into, everything's okay, but I mean, hundreds of gallons of stuff is coming off this hill and contained. calls the EPA in Atlanta, like he's supposed to do, and reports it. They called him back a couple weeks later and said, we're fining you $75,000 because you didn't call it immediately. I said, what? He said, you didn't call it immediately. You called in 4 hours after the event happened. Because if I called you first, I wouldn't have contained the spill. They are doing soil samples in the field to prove that there's nothing in the field. I mean, this guy negotiated for 6 months with these people in Atlanta to try and reduce the fine. Finally settled for $25,000. I hear these stories all the time. You got a member of our Faulkner in Madison. You're using the wrong wrench. But if the machine is calibrated properly, I'll buy the new wrench. I promise you. I'll buy it now. I'm sorry, you're getting fined X thousand dollars. I mean, it's just nonsensical what's happening. It's shaking. And so that's what's happening at the federal level. At the state level, this is really what's happening. Your state of Illinois, California, other states are really struggling to keep their businesses that run off. And they're coming to states like Tennessee. You're seeing Tennessee basically facing off against Alabama, Mississippi. It's like the SEC of business. And they're having these huge battles of how can you make it more attractive to come to our state instead of their state. So, there's some enclaves out there like Wisconsin and some other states that are having some unique approaches. Around them, things are staying the same. But Tennessee is a battleground for change as far as our labor laws, our tax laws. A lot of things are changing in all these states because of your question. It's a good question.
I think Jim and I are just going to keep passing this mic back and forth, right? That's all right. But, again, and this relates to my emergency background, so the EPA, once they're notified of this, and they're not notified early enough, worst case scenario could happen. What was that spill? What was that method contained? What was it? How dangerous was it? Nobody knew that. We're very fortunate in Nashville. We have some experts that are metro. I said here in Nashville, we're not in Nashville. But in Nashville, we have some experts that are equal to, as well, if not better qualified as some of these federal guys when it comes to hazmat. Like my Uncle Tree, the guys in federal Tennessee are not. And that's just not it belittles them anyway. They just don't get the same training that you might get in the bigger city. So once the federal government gets that call, number one, what was the outcome spill? And because you contained it, doesn't mean you've alleviated the problem. And I think, I'm not defending the fine. I think given the circumstances that it was negotiated down, maybe should have even been eliminated. I'm not arguing. Depending on what the penalty was. Again, the unknown was fear, I think. The government was unknown what this penalty was. For example, would be any of you people that live here in Tennessee for a long time will remember Waverly, Tennessee, and the train development when they had propane tanker. And everybody thought everything was fine. But boom, it found out it wasn't so good after all. You have to be very cautious when you're eating things that are very dangerous, such as chemicals and things like that.
I'll make a few more comments. I think too that I know I talked about the Northeast and it being your union area in the Southeast, and that as it being a higher cost area and unions get into that. I do think a little bit of that is unfair because I think a lot of our companies, you got to take this into context. One of their main things is they want predictability. Whenever they have, even if they want to, if it's time to renegotiate a contract, what is fearful for them is the uncertainty. Well, you've got to realize that state government, if you run any type of business, they're in and out of your doors quite a bit. I mean, especially if you're a food or you're manufacturing, you're handling raw goods, you're storing things on site. Guarantee you've got either a water, air, or a solid waste permit that the state has to do with. So these things are substantial. In the Southeast, and this is cultural, our businesses know, and we've worked hard to make sure this relationship comes, but I noticed the Ford there. The Ford will take now, which tells me that it's definitely a But in Tennessee, good. In Tennessee, they will come down if they were not taped up and say, hey, you all need to tape those up. People could trip, they could run into the wall, hurt themselves. Please fix that. Great, we will. If you're in Illinois and they catch that, that's fine. They don't mess around. And I think businesses, that harms the Northeast so much. It's just a difference in personality and a difference of how they approach the problems that factories encounter. Because businesses, they want to be compliant. It's so expensive not to be compliant. You want to be compliant. You want to be a leader in protecting the environment and worker safety and all these things. It makes you look good in a very consumer-conscious environment. That is very important to us, and we want to do that. Number two, I think is kind of a bright spot that I think unions miss out on. The talk is always about how much more expensive a trade shop is versus a non-trade. And we hear this from our business too. The training programs that unions offer are excellent. I mean, they are superior, and they are a major advantage for businesses to be able to walk in, have that network, because without those, businesses are left either to find some way to partner with their community technical school to devise a program, which is expensive. It's problematic for us to go out and do that, especially when times get tighter in the economy. I think that's something that is not often discussed, but Gary's right. That workforce is so important right now. It is a burden whenever I need to go hire 25 people, and I do 75 interviews, and they either come in, can't make eye contact with me, yet they don't know how to speak in full sentences. I ask them to read something, and they have trouble reading it. And these are soft skills. So if you can't even get through that soft skill, you can definitely not get them to a trained employee. In Tennessee, this is a real problem, and it's cultural. But I hear employers out there now are actually looking to not only skill training programs, but we want to talk about a soft skills opportunity. Can we sit with them maybe while they're in high school? Because if they've got good soft skills, they will make a good employee. You all know that, and you've seen it. It's not all about their hard skills. We've got to see the soft skills. So if there are programs that help to help not only on the training side, but also the soft skills side, I think those are opportunities to interface with employers that are positive and get them off of the other items that we
Was at a meeting earlier this week, and we were talking about this issue that Gary raised about workforce. Gary and I are on the Unemployment Compensation Advisory Council, the chambers as well. And we've had a huge unemployment problem in our state as to how the system works. And this is actually an area where we can read a lot on trying to improve, get the benefits out the door to people that need them to get to the next job. So we've actually, Gary wasn't at that meeting, so we got awesome calls are going down, it's improving. But the workforce issue is talked about a lot, particularly in rural areas. There's high unemployment in a lot of these counties out here. It's in the double digits. It's 15 to 18% in some counties. It's come down a little, but it's not good at all. Knox and Hamilton and Davidson and Shelby, you're around 5% range. So if you want to work internationally, you're going to get a job. It may not be the first job you want, but you're going to get a job. Out in the rural areas, it's awful in some spots. And the Hazard administration recognizes this, and they're trying to, when a company leaves Ventures County, and there are 20 people there that may have some soft skill issues, but they've been working for a long time, they've done this job for a long time, they try to get them immediately now into a program to job train and try to identify and find that next industry that may come in, maybe the county over, just have to know the good plan. They really have been working hard to get these folks into a training program to get them ready for the next job. So it's really brutal out there in the rural areas in some spots, but that's still a big problem. So employers want to fix. Yes, ma'am.
You have the new water business that year for graduating high
2-year? Yes. To be seen, I was not very engaged in that bill. I think Bradley was, so.
Yeah, that was the Tennessee Promise Program. And Tennessee is actually the first state in the United States to pass that bill that offers free community college. They funded it by taking away some of the lottery reserves. So far, it's been gangbusters. There are 58,000 students who have signed up for it. We think it is an excellent opportunity. However, I think it's important that students, when they engage in this program, that's one reason all students have a mentor tied to this, so they didn't just let students sign up, during the next whatever class you're going to do, but that students know that you need to find something that you're interested in. Don't go for the sake of going and taking a class that's not relevant or doesn't fit a demographic in the workforce area. We used the example, we heard that cosmetology had classes in Nashville. The volume of cosmetology students that they have in these classes far exceeds the demand that's needed. As a matter of fact, I think in Nashville, if you took all the graduates, it could almost fill the current job opening in cosmetology in the United States of America. So it's a very substantial gap. Now, why does that happen? It's happened because of savvy marketing, that targeted students, and it's a business just like everything else. But I think we think it's an excellent program. It presents so many opportunities, not only for individual Tennesseans to foster, but also helps in workforce challenges that we do have here. But I think that the next few years will make sure that the students are finding the right programs and that community colleges and technical schools are offering the right programs. That's kind of a challenge for employers to get out there and make sure that if these programs are going to be offered, we are a good working facility. We need you to offer these type of classes. We see that sometimes there's not a connection there, and that could present a challenge.
Something that's related to your question that I think a lot of y'all will care about. Is anybody familiar with the Go Build Alabama program? With Micro is? Pretty cool guy. I like what he gets on TV. He's not afraid to go on Fox. He'll go on places where you wouldn't expect him to go. He's doing a great job raising awareness for the trades. And it's a lot of kids who are down the street in school at Coffee County Central and Tullahoma High School, being told, you don't want to go, you don't want to do that. That's the job of nowhere, which is bull. I mean, people are craving. That is a needed skill out there for some of these folks to go through these trade programs. And you need to do this very well, but also this awareness. There was a bill last year from Brian Williams from Cookville in the King Lake session, and there were some problems with it. There was a tax on a certain tax, I think it was workers' comp, I don't know if premium tax. I think it was workers' comp. It was a very small tax, but it was a tax, and it wasn't really vetted. And so the bill was pulled, but I think they've rethought about how to do it here in Tennessee and do an awareness program to show you that it is cool to be a plumber. It is cool to do a lot of the things that we know we need in this economy for our economic growth. So you're going to see a Go Build Tennessee bill this year from around the world. Something we want to watch.
I'm
Just imagine that welder in Fentress County that got the skill and there's a construction company in Crossville, and that person gets up early in the morning and goes to work, and that's someone that's in the right system. And that's what we need more of. We don't need that person sitting around for a long period of time. So, this is where I think everybody agrees we've got a huge upside opportunity.
Sitting here and I can't help, it's serious, but I can't help to talk about this a little bit, not either of you two guys, situation that we find ourselves in. At my age, I remember when you had shop, you had printing, you had other trades that were taught back in high school. And you could either prepare yourself for the job market when you graduate high school, or you could prepare yourself for college, the 4 years. We got away from it. Why, I don't know. We did. Now we find ourselves coming back to it. So as the old saying goes, we're just about to come full circle. So I think everybody understands, business and labor collectively understand that different specific trades. Not everybody's going to be a doctor, not everybody's going to be a lawyer, not everybody's going to be a teacher, not everybody's going to be an ABC, but everybody needs a job. And so I think we're trying to address that. I hope the governor's trying to address that. Brad, I wouldn't ask for both of you guys who are up there on the hill and have the governor there so much more than I do. I think you can have counselors in school as well. I think utilization of counselors in these, especially these community colleges where they're utilizing these programs, to sit down with those students and look and map out a plan and say, well, college is great, but guess what? We're flooded with college will be considered. And let that student make a choice based on what they make it. Anyway, that's my 2 cents about it. Going full circle.
You've got the governor's here too. He's doing some things I think you like, and I think getting that word out to your folks is very important. You're right. We got away from it. And then one thing we got away from is civics. We don't have people that understand our system, of governments. And so we get caught in the minutia and we start yelling, Democrat, Republican, and you're wrong, as opposed to this is our form of government that works. And we could learn a lot, even though Gary disagrees with some of the bills that are being passed in Tennessee right now, they are passed fairly and transparently and openly. And I think we're getting more hyperbolic in our rhetoric because both sides don't like how the debate is going down. When Republicans lose, they should lose fairly, and say the people want this. And there's some issues out there that the people want, that they're fighting. Some issues maybe I don't want either, but if it's done fairly, then that's the way we should go down. Right now, we're stuck in this finger pointing, and civics is a big part of this. People don't know anything about how our government works, or should we?
These questions of workforce skills as it relates to business investment decisions and training, I think are really crucial for us. And as I was listening to your combined talks, I thought I saw a common ground in your praise of the high quality and relevance of union apprenticeship programs and what they bring in terms of both their actual and their potential broader impact on preparation of our workforce across a broad range of skills. And I don't want to call them manual skills because I've seen people work and there's a lot of intellect that's involved. And so, but my question then would be your comments about, say, high school or even middle school into universities and the technical colleges. Would you see that there's common ground for taking over $2 billion of union money that's invested in upgrading the workforce nationally in the craft unions alone, in the arbiters and the electricians, etc. And they really, their curricula really define the state of the art of these skills. But that lives sort of separate from our educational system in the public sector and the high schools and most of the community colleges and technical schools. Although we've had some examples where union apprenticeship programs have been part of community colleges. And so I would ask, do you think that there would be in the legislature a receptive environment for initiatives that would say, we already have these best practices in curricula, we know how important it is for our future, here's an area where organized labor and the business community would say, we need to leverage these skills to develop those curricula, or as we learned earlier today when we had someone from Germany talking about the apprenticeship programs that start people about age 12 or 13 right into a job, that they moved up in an apprenticeship program, broadcast, like you cater to the instead of electrician. Do you think that there would be, this would seem to me to be kind of logical progression from Tennessee Promise and some of these other divisions?
Yeah, Gary knows this issue. I can just accentuate maybe what he was about to say, because you know this issue well.
I think it goes back to what I said earlier. In the schools, they've gotten away from grade stuff. But the union never got away from it. We've had it for years. Our policy is that we've not informed the average citizen out there what's available to them.
The free apprenticeship program.
That's correct. And yeah, with the exception, and I'm not saying that I see some IBEW members sitting here, but in the national market area, I've actually seen commercials run by IBEW that talks about their apprenticeship program. I know the plumber, pipefitters have one, the carpenters have one, you just name every trade, they all have apprenticeship programs, but they're not marketing. It's usually by word of mouth, and that we get those people into it. What I would really like to see, and unfortunately I don't think I'll see it happen, but what I would really like to see is the governor step back on this program that he's created, which you're right, we do think it's a good program to try to educate as many people as you can. But I think you step back and say, okay, how can we utilize some of this money in some of these union trades that are already set up, and already teaching, and already putting people out in the field? That's those people go through those pre-existing training programs that already did. I think that would be an asset for the community, obviously, for the companies that's looking for good help, and obviously for the workers as well.
How can he do that when he's resisting unions coming into the state?
Yes, that's a good question, but my only experience with this is I do junior achievement and teach in schools, and it's been a few years since I've done it, but I did it for 10 years. I went into some of the schools and I saw these catering classes that these kids had, and they were getting hands-on experience on how to cater and prepare food and actually run the business, and the school was running it. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. That there's 15, 20 kids in here, and maybe a few of them are going to be caterers, and that's what they're going to add to the economy. So I just, however you do it, it needs to be done. What I think has happened, I don't think I'm answering your question directly, but what we've done with our system is we think every kid should go to college and get a 4-year degree. It's crazy. That's just, you look at the dropout rate in schools, and we need to get the graduation rate up. Why? I mean, some of these kids don't want to go to college, they just go because they're told to go to college. They go and party out, or they peer out and on, right? I mean, a lot of those kids should have been in some other program in high school, or should have been working through their union apprenticeship, that their dad went through. But we're not doing that. We're doing the exact opposite. And we're hurting a lot of people that could be in the workforce quicker and helping our economy.
Well, our model just pushes them on to the next stage. So it's like a manufacturing model from the 1930s. So you pour the information in, if they pass the quality check at the end, you move on. And so we keep doing that right up into and through college. And in many cases, they don't have any skills when they come out. They have a broad range of maybe general knowledge, but nothing applicable to any one given thing.
And I don't think we can have this conversation without having a good, honest discussion about K-12 too. And I think that's an opportunity for unions and business community partners. You all know, and we've taken heed over it, but we've been supportive of high standards, the revision, a lot of the big K-12 education changes that have happened. Because I think we can all agree that we see the young folks that are out there now, and they are absolutely deficient in one thing, that is they are not thinkers. All of us in here, we've got to a point in our life where we can think through problems. The kids we see now are not thinkers. They cannot be presented with a problem and think. Now, the new standards, whether you like them or you do not, it requires you to think differently. It requires you to be presented with problems and be able to logically go through them. That's what we're trying to get kids at. So I don't think we can continue to get kids that are not at a point where they're ready to either jump into an apprentice program or take that next step of community college if they're not ready. Because the fact fact is, if they have to run at a community college or technical trade and they fail it, they will not go back and try again. And the studies show that the retention for those folks going back and trying to make a trade work are like less than 5%. So if we lose those kids then, when they're frustrated, then we've lost them permanently. And that goes with skilled trades too, and I think that's a real thing we have to address.
I would also note that universities, for example, schools like MTSU are our country management program, which is top in the country. Might have second, I think, first. But we have a lot, very applied. We have a lot of students who work with companies, and every student coming out of there, 4-year degree, has all those soft skills, but all the hands-on technology skills as well. Those things are all through the university as well. We sometimes all talk about history and English majors, but there's a lot of the university that's much more than that. And those students all get signing bonuses and 5 or 6 job offers when they get their bachelor's degree. We have many areas at universities that are like that, and we need not to mischaracterize as these sort of dense and soft general knowledge. I don't think characterization is right.
Just to comment on the apprenticeships and so on. We just had a discussion of Germany and the system they have for apprenticeships. What they do is like 4 or 5 times larger than what goes on in the United States concerning vocational education. And yes, in the past we did have vocational, we still do have some vocational education in high school. But for the most part, it's pretty rolled up. You don't really come out of it with high skills and you can actually go into the labor market and do the job. I don't want to make it look like I'm criticizing high schools too much. My wife worked in high school and we taught students how to be nursing assistants in hospitals and so on and so forth. In Germany, you come out as a nurse after you go to high school. So the skill comparison is just not there. I think the German government is now sending around a team around the United States, basically trying to sell the German apprenticeship system to the United States. DW's got a plan for putting in an apprenticeship system. My recommendation is, quite frankly, for the people not going to college, there are a considerable portion of our people flunk out after 1 years. The last 2 years, junior and senior, is not worth it. Take them for the junior and senior year, send them straight to the community college so they can get a technical education that basically allows them to do something right out of high school. The high school degree right now for them is just not worth it. Now what that ends up producing is that in their junior and senior year, they're bored. Because they don't see the high school doing anything for it. And consequently, lots of them subsequently drop. So consequently, many of the things mentioned are good, but quite frankly, they're dropping the oil in terms of changing American high school. I talked to my students at the University of Kentucky about this, and they find it interesting. But I mentioned, well, let's drop some of the things that the Germans drop in their schools, which would be sports, cheerleading, and so on. How much money do we spend on that in high school? Well, things that are really, really non-essential. The other thing that this kind of system really needs to operate is cooperation with business. Because when you have an apprenticeship in Germany, business pays wages to those apprentices. And business has to cooperate with the government and provide schooling, but it's a kind of part-time schooling. And so you have 2 things together, and it benefits business because they get a preview of employees. And they can basically pick up the top, the best employees for their business, because for the most part, they've trained them, they've seen how they work for 2 or 3 years, and subsequently. It works pretty good. You can't have exactly the same system in the United States because they make people choose too early, 12 or 15 years old. That'll never work in the United States. But they subsequently send juniors and seniors to the community college, not to take free college courses or whatever, take a technical course that go out and be certified to do in the labor market, employers love it.
A lot of kids don't know, a lot of kids don't know at 15, 16 what they want to do with their lives, right? So if you're offering a few things along the way, in addition to these prep courses for college, you're really giving them the option, right? So, and I hear you talking about this apprenticeship, and I saw a slide up beforehand, and I heard some of the conversation. You know, politicians, not all, but some, look at anything that's proposed from the union as just something to advance the union, and vice versa, right? When actually this is about getting people, in what you're talking about, getting more apprenticeships, is getting people into the workforce. But they don't view it that way because it's been introduced by who? Right? So my advice is this is my advice, is if it comes from one group, it's probably going to fall flat. But if you take your idea, your German idea, and you start broadening your base, you have people, I just know that not every union member is Democrat. Not every business owner is a Republican, right? This is not the way it is, but the way it's viewed sometimes over there is that's the way it is, and that's not the way it is anymore. So I think when you have a good idea, you take it and you broaden it, and you don't make it extreme, you find out where it agrees. And some of the things that you all talk about, you probably have an opportunity to listen to what's going on in Tennessee, engage the government, engage the leaders, and see if there's something that's broad and bipartisan that might actually work. That would be my advice.
I'd like to follow up with something Brad said earlier. And that is those individuals that choose to go through a trade school, let's say, a high percentage of them fail out. There's a reason for that, I think. And I think it's because once they decide they want to work on sunglasses, that's their only choice. They work on sunglasses. When they start working on sunglasses and realize they hate sunglasses, they don't have an opportunity to switch to another. But I think counselors on the front end who work with those kids, watch their grades, consult with them, and then find out, well, maybe sunglasses are not the best for you. You need to go into the trade of making glasses. I happen to have two kids that both graduated college, and thank goodness they both graduated, but I say neither one of them graduated what they started college for. They had an opportunity and a choice to change. When you go into a trade school, you're limited to that one trade that you signed up for, and it's either pass or dead end. That, I think, Friday, we can look at working together to try to change that. We've got to create a system where we got counselors that are watching those students when they pick a trade, and they see that it's not for them, they have an opportunity to change rather than losing everything. Yes.
So now, Bill.
Before we started, when we were actually talking, we talked a little bit about the classification issue in Tennessee. And you had some thoughts here. So we said we talked about
This classification, we've got 10 minutes.
Yeah.
We'll be in this classification for we're back on workers' comp subject my dog loves. My first year in the General Assembly, there was a bill that would have required everyone in the construction industry to carry workers' comp, everybody. This was 2007. I was green as that grass out there. I went, okay. And a lot of nurse lobbyists were walking around, and I remember a senator came off the floor, two senators, one Democrat, one Republican. Both Finney was one. He said, that's the worst bill that's ever passed on this floor. Low Finney and May Beavers. And I went, whoa. I know I'm new, but I think I'm going to remember this. And I did, because my phone lit up, you wouldn't believe, after that bill passed, because you have all these dads and a son on the truck that either can't afford workers' comp, they're doing all these jobs on their own, they may occasionally do some job that's bigger, but they really are on their own, and if they have health care policies, most of them, some did, Blue Cross would pick them. They wouldn't go to university, but they actually pick up on the health care policy. And so, Joe Thien, Charlie Curtis, Bill Kepner, they all got together and they figured out how to fix this issue. and say, keep all these people from going to work. And you work with it, you vote for it. And so this bill passes and it sets up an exemption registry for all these folks. Unfortunately, half how many people will sign up. Does anybody know how many people are on the exemption registry today in Tennessee? 30,000. They're in there. They do $100 biannually, and if they don't have a license, another $100. So they sign up, and everybody knows that they don't carry workers' comp. So if you're a GC, you know that person is out there, and you better be careful, right? It's working. So they can go do what they got to do. All those jobs are saved, and but the bill was passed originally. The original bill was to get this classification. And this is where we agreed with Gary and AJ and a lot of others, and Jerry when he was up there. This is where we agreed that this classification is a bad thing. If you're running someone up on the road without workers' comp, you're going on employment premiums, you're cheating the system, and you're cheating on people who are doing it on books. So this person falls off, you run them off to the emergency room, bad news, right? So this compromise, I think, has really addressed some of the problem. But now we're having this grand debate about this classification. And I think we need to be really careful when we're talking about this. I think anyone in the construction industry is doing this, there's going to be significant consequences in Tennessee now with this law. We're having a debate about other industries. And not every industry is the same. But there's a veterinarian that down in Franklin that hired someone to come in and do some work on an animal and gave them the tools that violates the Tennessee test. They're now a subcontractor. You owe workers' comp premiums on phone taxes. You get that. But the satellite installer who has 10 employees and gets a ton of orders 1 week, and he knows 3 or 4 other guys that do this on the side, he calls them and says, here's the name number, go do it. Doesn't need them all year long, but he's going to fill the order. He needs that flexibility. She needs that flexibility. And so we just need to be really careful with this classification because it's not all the same. But we've made a lot of progress. The bill's been very big on this, but I think we need to be careful with, we need to be watching how we do with the construction, going after some of the big hitters that are obviously getting in the system.
All I can say to that is I think he hit the nail on the head when you have people that are intentionally using the system, and that's what we attempted to, and I think that did address. And I think that's one time where we saw the mandatory bill to get something that keep people from using the workers' comp.
Those are all those.
Cameron there, NFIB. Ever since I was in high school, while I was junior chief, by the way, my IJ company that I was involved in, Washington, Iran, did quite well in 1984. I lived in one of the national conference in Bloomington, Indiana. I learned young. Don't depend on a job, master a skill. But whatever you're doing, but that way you're not out on the political line. I also learned how important education is in being employable and staying that way, keeping up with what's going on. The rules are written in blood, whether it's regulations on business or regulations for employee. I don't like to wear Chinese name gloves when I'm doing certain types of work, but that's a safety rule because people have got hurt on the job. You're not having that personal protective equipment that they need. And businesses who want to sidestep rules and think, well, I can get away with it if I move my business over here, may find themselves in worse trouble if they apply the laws in the first place. And bad businesses breaking the law hurts the reputation of good business. Just like workers that want to cover up problems that they make it bad on the rest of us. So I believe that education is on or off the job. There's things I do in my spare time. Through education, people understand, hey, it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. I'm on the job, things I can educate what the contractors are doing for us, and what the unions are doing for us, and how we can help the customer in the long run, makes it people better. And if we had a company wants to move to another state because then they can get away with the lead box, that hurts the customer. We've seen this as a result of offshore, where they can introduce hazardous substances in their products. That hurts the customer. We don't need that. Because then when we lose repeat business, that hurts both businesses and humans, as well as other people. So I believe in working together, we can increase the standard of living for everybody. Because I've seen this plenty of money go around. We all seem to be hunting fellows against the wealthy. If we can educate people and understand both the health, the good of the workers, ultimately businesses will prosper. It's not the elimination of unions that helps increase the standard of living. It's taught in consumer achievement. It's producing more goods per hour, more quality goods per hour. That's what does it.
Said about wealthy. I've got a member who is a very good friend of mine, and he's on my leadership council, and deacon in my church, and just a super guy, and he's doing very well. And he wanted to, he's got this friend in Italy that he wants to bring to the country. Someone's known, he's been there before. And this is where this immigration issue is polarized, and you're hearing about. But he can't get him into the country to start two businesses that he wants to seed with his wealth, which is a restaurant and distribution business. And you talk about jobs. Those jobs are sitting there right now because we cap the number of visas that we can take. We have a border security issue where people are coming across the border, and they're being let in without skills, a lot of them, not all. But we have this guy in Italy, I've got another guy who remember, he's got someone in Ireland, he's trying to get him here that's an IT specialist, he can't get him here. And when you hear businesses talk about the immigration problem, this is a huge issue that's related to job creation. There are a lot of immigrants that want to come here that are skilled, that are ready to go to work, that will get the economy going in a better direction. But remember that when you're hearing the immigration debate, because it ties into what you're talking about. The people that have wealth right now and want more people to go to work. And support good, legal, reasonable immigration.
Gentlemen, 5:01. You exceeded your time.
Thank you very much.